Economists are pouring cold water on Vice President Kamala Harris's latest economic policy regarding small businesses. The plan, aimed at reducing startup costs for new businesses, includes a $50,000 standard tax deduction for small businesses instead of the current rate of $5,000. But Harris also proposed raising marginal tax rates on corporations and individuals, which economists argue would cancel out any benefit of the startup deduction increase. I want to bring in Florida Congresswoman Maria Salazar. She is a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Small Business Committees. Congresswoman, good morning to you. Welcome back to work, although I know you've been working all month. But what do you make of this proposal coming from Vice President Harris? And do you expect to hear about this tomorrow night on the debate stage?
Of course. What a disaster, huh? What a disaster. Biden and Harris have had 4 years to help small business. Why now? And since I am a member of the Small Business Committee, I can tell you that more regulation, more taxes, a lot harder for the small business to flourish. Price controls is one of her ideas. Not only that, is that now, if that were to be implemented, the farmer in Arkansas is going to be receiving orders from a bureaucrat in Washington what eggs and beef are going to cost him. A disaster. Regulations, taxes, is socialism, and don't we know about it? I represent the Cubans in Miami.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about this because just this morning, Congresswoman, Kamala Harris and the campaign finally produced the policy page. We had this page even yesterday was still blank this morning. Now, there is a section about small businesses, and I want to get your reaction to what she writes because it's actually what you just said. Okay, so she says she led the Biden-Harris administrations to increase access to capital for small businesses, bring venture capital to parts of middle America. Here's what she says. She tripled the Small Business Administration's lending to black-owned businesses and more than doubled small dollar lending to Latino and women-owned businesses. She also has championed and expanding federal contracts for minority-owned small businesses. That's what she writes this morning.
Listen, the Small Business Administration in the last 3.5 years has been very mediocre. Small Business Administration is this agency we have in at the federal level to help those little small businesses, 66% of the economy. It's a disaster, starting with picking up the phone and from the Small Business Administration and helping the little farmer or the little shop florist that's calling from Idaho. It's a lie. The small business does not need government. Small business need freedom, lower taxes, lower interest rates, no inflation in order to flourish. We don't have to tell the American regular guy or the immigrant that is coming to set up a little shop how they have to run business. They just need to have government away from them and they will flourish. And I repeat, I represent the city of Miami, the heart of the Cuban exile community, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of little small businesses that have been able to flourish, but not with government. Because with Harris, government is first, the individual is last.
Yeah, interesting. Liz Peek is on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Good morning, Congresswoman. I think one thing you didn't mention is regulation. And the House Budget Committee came out with a report saying that regulations under Joe Biden on businesses are costing $1.4 trillion, more than any president in history, which is pretty amazing considering that Obama was like the chief of regulatory overhaul, or I should say overstepping. Isn't that also a big plus for President Trump as he compares with Kamala Harris?
Listen, it's evident. And I always say, regardless of what you think of the President Trump, what you feel about him, whether you're thinking whether to vote for him or not because you do not like this or that, you have to look at his policies, not at his personality. 4 years ago, we were the envy of the world when it comes to economic indicators. Come on. High interest rates, inflation, bonuses to the employees, lower taxes for corporations. It's simple. It's either free market economy or it's socialism, where government is God, and in the free market, the individual is God and has power and will determine what to do with his life and with his money. So I'm not sure what the American public is thinking. You know why? Because they do not have a point of reference like we do. We, our constituents, we have lived what socialism is all about, and where government is God.
Yeah. Well, speaking of government,
let's not even go there.
Speaking of government, Congress is back in session today. And the big news, obviously, is this partial government shutdown is looming again October 1st, unless a funding plan passes. So on Friday, Speaker Johnson debuted that continuing CR. He's expected now to link the SAVE Act to the proposal, which aims at keeping these non-citizens from voting in the elections. Residents, by the way, still petrified in Aurora, Colorado, because that violent Venezuelan gang trend to Nicaragua, they're apparently taking over these apartment complexes now. One landlord had to sell his property. They're also causing worries in North Texas, New York, Florida, and more. So former President Trump did speak about the takeover. I want you to listen to what he said.
As we speak, heavily armed Venezuelan gangs have taken over entire apartment buildings and apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, terrorizing the residents. They're taking over. They've left. Under Border Czar Harris, we are being conquered. We're being actually conquered, if you think of it from within. But as soon as I'm back in the White House, the conquest will end. We will dispatch ICE and the elite teams of federal law enforcement to clear out the gangs from Aurora and every other American city that's being torn up and victimized. And we'll get MS-13 and other vicious gangs out of our schools, out of our high schools, your communities, and out of our country.
Okay, Congresswoman, so two issues. First, you've got obviously what we're seeing with the violence coming from this gang, which I know that you are very aware of course, in your district. But also, I do want to get your thoughts on where we are with the SAVE Act and the funding plan. I mean, this is an election season, and some are saying that this is kind of a dangerous time to talk about a government shutdown once again.
Right. I'm sure that there is going to be no government shutdown, that Mike Johnson is going to be able to pass a CR that we can continue funding the government until the end of the year. And within it, there has to be the SAVE Act. I just want to say to you very clearly that the undocumented, the people who have been here for more than 5 years, been here 10 years, the undocumented portion, do not want to vote. And I know it because I serve that community. I speak both languages. I know how to communicate with them. And the average immigrant who's an illegal, who's undocumented, just want to be here and want to work, live a dignified life, and then go back home for Christmas. They do not want to vote. The problem is that the Democrat operatives are telling them that they can and showing them and making it easy. But I'm sending a very clear message to the Democratic Party and to the undocumented that they are not going to vote. And I'm going to make sure that I send that message that voting is illegal and they do not come to this country to break the laws. They come to help. Is the operatives in the Democratic Party the ones who are using that group of people who are undocumented and they are uninformed to use them to increase voting, which is completely and absolutely illegal. So that's why I do agree that we got to show an ID to vote.
Okay, so you're back to work. I mean, Congress is back in session. I don't say you, but Congress is back in session. How do you bring stories like the one that you just articulated to us? How do you bring that to the likes of, well, the Democrats like Chuck Schumer? Because their pushback, and even Mitch McConnell has made some comments about this. Well, illegals aren't, they're not voting in federal elections. This is a non-starter. I think Chuck Schumer called it a poison pill. But how do you bring that proof to say, no, this is happening in my community? How do you do that?
Well, I spoke with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and he told me that there is proof. I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't doubt it, because I know that the Democratic Party has made they have different tactics in order to help their voter increase their voting in their favor. But it doesn't matter. It's just that it's illegal. Mm-hmm. You cannot do it. You're breaking the law. And those who are being forced to do it do not want to do it. So it's something that we definitely have to address.
Well, there's so much.
I like the SAVE Act, and I will vote for it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And Congresswoman Maria Salazar, thank you for being here on this Monday, and a busy week ahead. We'll see you soon.